Something's happening.
That's a good noise.
Okay. Chelsea, can we do a mic test real quick?
We sure can.
Holy cow. Works well. That is loud. Okay. So technical around here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on June 13th for the Redevelopment Commission meeting. If we could stand for our Pledge of Allegiance and a short invocation by Commissioner Call. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Join me in prayer. Thank you, Lord, for allowing us to be here today. We ask that you keep those who are dealing with this heat safe. And we also ask you, Lord, that you would guide our discussion and that you would help us to make decisions that will impact the taxpayers in this community in a way that would be acceptable in your eyes. Guide us and direct us. Amen.
Amen.
Next on the agenda, the approval of minutes from our May 5th executive session. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now for our public meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion to accept. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, aye? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Financial report. See, told you, we're going to move through. Chelsea, you want to take the financials? Sorry.
Sure. I emailed. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. I emailed out from the clerk treasurer's office the docket as well as on page 3 it's on report. So 2512, the tip rental property, again, $178,529.35. The tip debt service reserve, $474.30. Again, as a reminder, those two are not changing. We're not paying bills out of tip rental property, and the tip debt reserve is the final payment for 4406, the redevelopment capital fund. Current balance is $6,920,680.25. And I'm happy to answer any questions anybody may have.
Any questions about the financial report?
I will just add, I think honestly, it's kind of confusing. Tammy included the appropriation report, which for the redevelopment commission, I think is very interesting because we don't actually have appropriations like the town departments do. So if you're confused by that, understandable though. It looks like we're in the negative for everything, and that's because there's no budget set for everything. We're the one government entity that's not how we operate. So if you're confused looking at the rest of that report, rightfully so. It's very confusing. I would disregard.
Do I have a motion to accept the financials?
I'll make a motion to accept the financial report.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Old business, shell building update. Adam?
Chelsea, may you take this one?
Yeah, go for it.
So, Friday, we received some bad news from Dawson Logistics, or disappointing news. So, under the purchase agreement for the shell building, they had an inspection period, which is very standard for all commercial properties. And then they have the right to terminate the purchase agreement anytime during that period. And they have elected to terminate the purchase agreement for the shell building. So Now the ball's back in Cushman Wakefield's court to find us another buyer. They did not provide a reason. They weren't required to. There's no cause, but they just cited that buyers determined the property is not suitable for the buyer's purposes.
Any questions on that? Obviously, we're disappointed, but moving on to brokerage services. Chelsea, do you want to take this one?
Sure, I can take that. We discussed our last meeting that we have some traction on the land north of the Shell building. And that was brought to us specifically by Cushman and Wakefield, who is our existing broker for the Shell building. So you have for consideration 2 different listing agreements from Cushman and Wakefield. One is for essentially the outstanding land east of the creek at the Monroe Business Center. So that includes the lot north of the Shell building, as well as the lot west of Haymaker Drive. Again, the lead that was brought to us specifically from the Cushman Wakefield brokers are looking at the lot north of the Shell building. And then you have a second that encompasses the entirety of the Mooresville Business Center, excluding the odd 3.5 acres east of State Road 67. So this is completely up for, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. This is very similar and has been reviewed by legal with Attorney Thruwald conjunct. This is very similar to the listing agreement that we have for the Shell building. It is just broadening the scope of their services to include additional acreage parcels, as the current agreement is only for the Shell building. So you could approve either of these or neither of these. But they are actively working on a deal north of the Shell building. On our behalf, pro bono currently. Not pro bono, that's not the right word. They expect they expect something in return, which is why we're where we are. But they did bring it to us without a contract, which is why I'm bringing you contracts for consideration.
I think if I can add to what Chelsea said. So they are the broker for the Shell building. This agreement is 99% the exact same. I think one of the excluded entities is different because they're no longer around. But basically, if TOA or NICEBAC or somebody wants to come back and they don't provide any services and they don't get any commission for that, since they didn't really do anything for that. But I think as the broker for the Shell building, they also get spillover interest, right, from other interested parties for the vacant lots. And I think in good faith, they are willing to entertain those or help us out to a certain extent, right, with passing along those leads with the understanding that they would be compensated for that, but they do not actively market the property or try to go out and lead sell it. It's just, like I said, more of a spillover thing, but this would engage them to actually, market it on their website. There are all their other brokers. And does everybody have a good understanding of the 2 options? It is just the different portions of the property. It's either all of the rest of the Mooresville Business Center, is that what we're calling it now?
Yeah.
Which is 56 acres west of the creek, and then the 10 acres in the east of the creek that's by the Shell building and in the northern lot, or it's just the property all east of the creek. Or so basically around the Shell building.
One of the questions we had tried to answer, and we were hoping to try to answer with an RFP was, what is it worth? What is the market value? Because we keep getting these requests that they throw a dollar number out there, but we don't know if it's the value that we should be asking for. If we go with this listing agreement, are they going to come to us with some proposals on things that they're looking at, or is it just, okay, we're going to market it?
Chelsea, did you hear that?
Yes, I've had some pretty in-depth conversations with Michael and Ryan, and they believe that we can. They don't believe that we are very far off on our previous list price. Which, again, as a reminder, I'm not a broker, and I came up with it by some back-of-the-napkin math based on what we paid and the infrastructure cost with Merriman and Bethel road upgrades, as well as some of the water upgrades. So they don't think that we're very far off, but they do think that prices have gone up since I came up with this in 2019, and that we could stretch ourselves a little more than where we're at. And I think that's the kind of guidance that the commission's looking for is, are we where we need to be? Are we too high? Are we too low? We don't want to leave the table. We don't want to be unfair one way or another. So I think, we've had some pretty in-depth conversations, and they think that we have a little room to grow. Again, we're not super far off. And in 2019, they said that's probably where you should be, but obviously prices are not for anything what they were in 2019. So they do think we have some room to grow, and we've had very frank conversations about what it is that we're looking for, why we are where we are, why we would even consider brokerage services, and it's because we don't know what we don't know. We're not brokers, right? And so the guidance of the 10.022 acres, which only really half acres are buildable. How do you price that? I don't have an answer to that. That's not, to me, completely straightforward. So I think there's value in having the brokers involved to help guide those conversations, as that's their field of expertise. So I hope that answers your question.
And I would, Chelsea, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'd expect them to provide their starting price that they think that we should, be asking for, and provide input on that. And then, for them to market it is also for it to be, in their portfolio. I mean, I would imagine that they would have some, do some photos, do a little, not the full brochure that you have at the Shell building, because that actually has a facility, right? But to have some materials that they have and to push out into the, real estate universe for consideration, as opposed to now people just drive by or see that it's available compared next to a property that's marketed in the Shell building. I would expect them to come and bring us out all that information once engaged for it.
Absolutely, and I think on top of that, they really want to strategically plan what makes sense for the roughly 100 acres in whole, not piecemeal it together. We sell the 10 acres to an end user that doesn't necessarily mesh with the Shell building right across the street. Does that make a lot of sense? Probably not. So that they really want to help strategically plan what makes the most for the business, and make sure that we're doing deals that encompass what it is that our goal was originally, what we want. So yeah, it's much more holistic and big picture than one-offs. And Adam's absolutely right with the marketing pieces and the guidance and the pricing. All of that would be inclusive.
Any other questions? Comments?
I think at some point we've got to move on it so that we can start getting guidance, because I feel like we're spinning our wheels.
They only get paid if they sell it or lease it. So
Yeah.
we're not putting out dollars.
No.
Do you want to choose an option tonight? Do you want to table it? Do you?
If we chose just the 27-acre version of this, would it make sense to then put out an RFP for the rest, or are we just sending a bad message to Cushman and Wakefield at that point?
I think that's definitely be in your analysis. I mean,
Either we trust you or we don't.
Yeah.
I think there's some value in it all being under one, that you're dealing with one broker, or one broker bringing you deals, one broker helping with how everything sort of fits together. You know, the bigger the contract, the more attention it's also going to get, as opposed to smaller contracts with various places.
This is a 1-year contract. We have the option to extend, right? But
6-month period, 6-month time period, it automatically extends, I think, or not
unless we, I
automatically.
mean, if
but
we
it
run
had
happy though.
Yes, so, yes.
Self-renewing for up to 2 periods, so.
Right. Yes, but June 12th, 2023 is when it would expire, but we have to give 30 days notice. So basically, at your May meeting, you'd have to decide at that point. But yes, it is. It is not a perpetual agreement. It's 4 years, so. And at some point, I mean, I would imagine with the construction seasons and things, it's better to have an agreement earlier than later.
Somebody go.
I make a motion that we accept the listing agreement for the 82.81 acres with Cushman and Wakefield.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion passes. Chelsea, thank you so much. Would you like Cushman and Wakefield?
I will do that. Thank you.
Thank you. High Street, State Road 42 signal pole discussion.
I just wanted to provide a quick update that we again are in discussions with NDOT in the town regarding the memorandum of understanding for the signal pole at High and Monroe. Adam has reviewed it and has gotten that back to the town and NDOT. It's now with the town's attorney for her review. And then I believe, Adam, we were going to discuss having them approve it tonight. NDOT had indicated that deadline is July 4th to get this executed. I'm butchering this, I apologize. So we had discussed previously, since Adam has already reviewed it and redlined it, that contingent upon the town's approval, that it would be best, since we will not have a meeting before July 4th, that also approve the MOU.
Did everybody follow all that? So this is this is for the 3 decorative poles right at 42 and Monroe. NDOT would otherwise provide their standard bare minimum lights. I think you guys have all talked before about paying the marginal cost to upgrade those lights. I know we did this with a sidewalk project a handful of years ago. I'm not sure who was all on the commission at that time, but basically, the commission is added as a party to cover those costs on behalf of the town, but is otherwise still really just a town NDOT project. We're just providing that excess funds, which is $60,000 towards the cost of the enhancement. I reviewed this, and what I would recommend is approving, subject to any additional changes or comments required by the town's attorney. But given the timeline with NDOT's need for the agreement, that you approve it with subject to any town's attorney, and if town council approves it, then we'll be good to go. If not, then the town council will have the option to kill it or not move forward.
I make that motion.
I have a motion to approve contingent on the town council approving. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Brownfield assessment grant update.
No, nothing to update at this point.
Main Street Subcommittee update.
Do we have any town council members on the subcommittee yet?
So I did have one come up and said, I'm a glutton for punishment, and Greg Sweeney said he would jump in, and since you had so many volunteers, you get one of one. So Greg Sweeney said he would be happy to serve on that.
Okay, then I will work with Greg and with Dana and Brian, and we will get a meeting set up with Dave Moore to discuss.
Fantastic. New business. Actually, let me back up. The police department's here. Do we have anything for them? I was trying to figure out where to plug them. Dana, have you got nothing?
We were waiting on him to leave last night.
Oh yeah, if you guys want to move forward, we just need to go through the process.
And that process would be amending
Amending
bylaws, right?
the current economic development plan.
Okay.
And there was a cost to that, correct?
Yes. I mean, several $1,000s. I'm not sure if Baker Tilly would have to do an economic development analysis or not, since we're just changing the plan, we're not adding anything. We'll have a, does anybody volunteer to go to the Plan Commission meeting? I only ask just because they should approve it. Chelsea usually handles those things, as it is more wildly inefficient to send me to the Plan Commission. I mean, that just helps save down on costs. Town council, I'm assuming you could handle that part.
Yes, I can handle it.
Then a public hearing, and then that's it. I mean,
Yeah. I think part of the pushing it off was the thought that we would have had discussions on other projects that we wanted to possibly do at this point, and since we haven't, I hate continuing to kick it down the road, not knowing if it's going to be, I mean, before fall even, that we're come back with other projects.
Are we talking about total other projects or for the police department? 'Cause
Total
we have-
other
Total
projects.
town.
We have a building auxiliary building that's been brought up over the years. But I'm not.
And I was going to say, you guys probably are zoned for that. Outdoor storage, I don't think you're even zoned for, so.
I can't tell you all that right now.
That's a lot of process, so.
For what we're looking at now with the fencing or with the auxiliary
If they
building
were
he's
to
mentioned?
do any outdoor storage,
Okay,
I believe the property, Chelsea, is R3 behind them.
Yes.
I think the only storage we were really looking at is short-term of impounded cars. Nothing that's gonna stay there forever, to my knowledge.
how's the ordinance worded though? Does it allow for that short term even?
I'm not sure on that.
I mean, it's basically parking lot.
That's their lawyers.
Okay.
Cost.
Okay.
If you want to move forward, I just need to know what the project is in the description and then a dollar amount.
Have you talked to Tim Bennett at all on this?
Yes.
Okay.
But it was just questions about permitting and stuff if we need it for the fence and, this, that, and the other, but it was nothing regarding what you're saying, but I'd be glad to call him. Or if you guys want to.
I'm just throwing up little things later on. You guys we can start the process.
Were the costs pretty well set? Because you brought us.
Well, every time we delay, you
It
know how
pushes
this
the cost.
economy is. So I feel comfortable that we can get it done with where we were at. But, you know, if we're talking 4 months down the road or 5 months, who knows?
Yeah. Remind me, what was the figure? 'Cause I don't
We
have-
had 150 thrown out there, but we came in under on the budget.
Okay.
And I had a little bit of fluff money, if you remember, I think I called it.
Okay.
So Adam, what were you saying needs to go through the plan commission?
That's just part of the plan amendment process, so there's the usual four-step process, so the commission at your next meeting will adopt a declaratory resolution, then it'll go to the planning commission for approval, then it'll go to the town council for approval, and then we'll need to notice a public hearing, and invite the public, come back. Regional Commission will adopt a confirmatory resolution, and then make some filings with the county auditor and DLGF, and that'll be it.
So basically for the plan commission, then it's just presenting the declaratory resolution and answering questions if they have some, so.
So that process itself will take at least a month if we started it now. Or two.
When's the plan commission next meet? It's going to be after your July redevelopment commission meeting, 'cause that's when you would adopt the
So
declaratory.
if we started now, it'd be probably August before we could get it turned around. So I'm just saying,
When
putting
is-
it off longer.
Yeah, but when does the plan commission meet?
They usually meet like 2 weeks after we normally do, or a week after.
Third Thursday or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's third Thursday.
Okay, so then when does the town council meet?
Second and fourth.
Yeah.
So fourth,
So you're looking August, yes, at
and when's your August meeting?
RDC or town council?
RDC.
August 4th.
And subtract 10 days off of that. And
Okay.
if that's a Thursday, then take the square root. You have to subtract 10 days off of that, and if that's before,
25th.
when is the town council meet? Or after?
26th.
Okay, so then you're in September,
Even if we do it, even if we do it today. Or,
or you mean July, yeah, if you adopt in July.
so if we're gonna do it, we need to get moving, is what.
Yeah, I just need move ahead and then tell me the description and then the.
Wasn't there
dollar
something already put towards the town council had allotted, but they wanted it to come through here on the last
I wasn't at the last meeting.
preliminary, this is months ago. They'd allotted, I'm going off memory and I'm old, so, they had put it on their preliminary
The,
something.
yes.
It's in the capital improvement plan.
Yeah, I was going to say the capital.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Evidently, that's a plan that they have no plan to execute, is that?
I don't, look at me.
Well, you're the only town council person there right now.
That's why I directed it to you.
Yeah, so it's a plan, it's, to me, a wish list of everything that you ever wanted and throw it in there, and it's so everybody can pull it off, look at it and say, this made sense, this is the next logical step of what they need. Each department got their input, so it is on the website. I don't know if this specific one was still in there. I know it was brought up, but again, I get like cemetery, I don't get the police department.
And I'll just remind everybody, this isn't something we're looking, it's for security for the police department facility and our tower and antennas and communications, because we are constantly in it, having people back there, or driving through or walking through. And if they do build back behind us, that's going to be even worse. Not a scare tactic, I'm just making sure everybody's keeping that in the back of their head.
So do we just need a motion to start the process? Is that?
Yeah, and I just need to know what the description of the project and even just a vague description.
We'll have the.
I
Does one of us do it?
didn't bring it with me.
You don't
think I
have,
did
it
either.
doesn't have to be at this moment, I just
Right.
need it before we
Okay.
come to the next meeting, but I need to,
It's on my desk, I can scan it in and send it to you.
yeah, and then a dollar amount that you guys want to see in there.
Okay.
I would make a motion that we start the process, proceed.
Okay. Or sorry, I didn't mean to say okay. You guys got to vote,
I have a motion to proceed, do I have a second?
It's not stapled or anything.
That's fine.
That's what I presented last time.
I'll make that second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And I'm going to actually stay out and abstain on this one because I'll have to like triple roll this one. So since it passes here, I'll save the vote for the town council. Did you want a dollar amount
Yeah, I mean,
set in?
looks like 148. So we can do 150. However you, whatever you guys want to do, is just let me know. We can, or I can leave it blank and you can decide next meeting, or
I would suggest just rounding it to 150.
In that, there's a chunk of change for seal coating the existing parking lot that was brought up to us by the paving company when we were talking about the building out back. They said this is needing attention, so I threw it in there with that because we're going to be doing trenching and cutting through the existing, and we have to bring the paving company back in, and it just seemed like a good time to clean it up. And I do realize some of that's more maintenance than it is.
so have these bids been accepted?
Nothing's been accepted. They're just the ones that we've talked to, and the low ball is the one we used.
Okay.
If they met the criteria.
Okay.
Legally, is that okay, or do we have to go?
Well, I mean, so the plan just allows you to do it. It doesn't obligate you to do it, so, once you go through the plan, then, I mean, if you guys get bids and then you can accept them, and we can provide the fund, or however the commission wants to do that, but, the plan just gives you the authority to even say yes.
There we go. We have put it in process.
Thank you all very much.
Dana said 150, that's good, right?
Mm-hmm.
New business pass-through determination, resolution 2022-2.
I can take this one, Chelsea. So every year, the statutes require you to do a pass-through analysis. So this is an assessed value. Those of you that have to do formal budgets, like on the town council or any of those other departments where you put everything together, and then later they're going to get assessed values from the DLGF and everything else. So before the DLGF and everybody can tell you what the assessed value is, we have to make a determination on our pass-through, and many other things go into the equation, but this is actually fits into the overall budget process for towns, schools, counties, townships, so that they can do their budgets later in the year. So you have the ability to pass through assessed value, which obviously lowers any of your TIF collections. If you, and this is just the statutory, if you expect to collect 200% more than your expected expenses, then you have to get town council approval. So every year, I provide to Chelsea, and Chelsea can give you the more details on, I think, works through this with Baker Tilly on expected revenues. This is all for next year. So next year's expected revenues and next year's expected expenses. This was in the email with the working, with the meeting packet, but actually anticipated expenditures exceeded expected cash collections. So you were down at 41% as compared to your anticipated expenses. Chelsea, do you want to add any color to the projections?
Yeah, so I use the annual report that Baker Tilly provided in May with the information that they have with projected revenue, as well as our rough budget or expected expenses for the worksheet. That's why I like to have Baker Tilly come in May, the month prior to us doing the pass-through analysis, to get a clearer picture of what our financial state really looks like. So I'm happy to answer any specific questions that you may have about the sheet, but that's where my numbers come from.
And so this resolution does not pass through any assessed value, which is what the commission has done in the past and is generally standard practice through most places in the state.
Do I have any comments on resolution 2022-2? I have a motion on this resolution.
I'll make a motion to pass the resolution.
Motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
I just didn't react soon enough.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Well, I was thinking about something when you were talking and got distracted. Didn't react soon enough.
thank you. All righty. Mark, it's your turn. Banning engineering. Speaking of projects.
Hey, quick introduction. My name is Mark Butler with Banning Engineering, so it's good to speak with you again. I just want to give you a little history on the drawing that I've distributed to the commission. This is a proposed improvement to the Monroe and Carlisle intersection in town on the west side. And a little bit of history. The town did a traffic study last year, and that traffic study revealed that a stop sign at this intersection is not warranted, which means that there's not enough traffic on Carlisle to make people stop with a stop sign. Therefore, a signal is not warranted either. Okay, so there is a safety concern where folks coming in from the north into town generally drive above the speed limit, and a high potential for pedestrians, especially during school times, where it could have a vehicle and pedestrian crash. Potential is pretty high. And so the traffic study had a number of measures that they recommended, and one of those was to either do some kind of like speed bump or something. Another one was to tighten down the width of the road to make it feel tighter. And naturally, just to explain, if you go in a construction zone and they have barrels on both sides, generally speaking, statistics show that people travel much slower because it's different, it's tighter, and they're looking out for construction equipment and workers, things like that. So I'd like to explain the approach to the project quickly. Just look at your 11 by 17 drawing, and north is to the left of the page, okay? And so folks coming into town on Monroe, we would introduce some new striping pattern there that makes the lanes 11 foot wide. The standard lane is 12. The current lane there is much larger than 12, okay? And there's a shoulder there. We propose to put in some striping and a dedicated left turn lane. There's a little error. There's no stop bar. There's a stop bar mark that's actually not supposed to be there. So people would travel through the intersection. On the right-hand side, we propose to put a curb and some street trees to make it feel and look different. And then we'd like to add a welcome sign, Welcome to Mooresville, a small monument-type sign similar to what you would see at the front of a resident subdivision, okay? Not real elaborate. As a car passes through Monroe Street going south, through the intersection, on the downstream side, we propose to put in a pedestrian island with trees or some combination in the middle. That's yet to be determined. But that island allows for pedestrians to cross and have like a refuge there. It's very common.
I don't know if you're ready for questions yet, but that's kind of what had me distracted and go, I thought those were trees there. Would that kind of block the view of the pedestrians, though, crossing there?
So the trees would be ornamental type trees where they grow up tall and it would be up like that, or they could be skinny. But the idea is that folks traveling north are going slower on average than folks traveling south, but both directions will have push button activated flashers. So it doesn't have to be trees, but it would look nice, you know. But
This
anyway.
image, the yellow are pavement markings and or trees, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, and
That's
the green
right.
is right-of-way line?
The green is the edge of pavement. Yeah. Okay. So we would mill and overlay the asphalt all the way from start to finish, and that triggers eligibility for the Community Crossings Roadway Grant. Okay. So we would add or refurbish the sidewalks that are along this whole stretch, and we would redo some striping along Carlisle and add pedestrian push buttons at the key locations. where the crossing is to occur. So if you've seen these, they're very common in all over Plainfield, Carmel, Avon, and you push them and they're rectangular flashing, very bright, very annoying, if you will. It's meant to get your attention. Okay, and on the right-hand side of the page, this mill and overlay and sidewalk extension would actually go all the way down to Main Street. So it goes another couple blocks off the page, okay? All right, so the main objective for this is to increase safety for pedestrians, especially during school hours. Just general beautification of the intersection. Churchill Drive is actually a private drive currently, and we would need a little bit of land, at least in a proposed easement or permanent easement, at least, to be able to make these turns work for buses and things like that. Okay, bring it up to engineering standard. We'd also have to work with the owner of the subway property to get a sidewalk across there. So this is a complex project, but I'd like to propose how we plan on funding this project. The overall total cost is projected to be $1.595 million. Okay, 1.59 basically million. Okay, we propose that we seek funding, or the town seeks funding through the Community Crossings Matching Grant. The town has been very successful in doing that in the past. If they were to be awarded, they could get up to $1 million awarded. Not all of the project is eligible. So the landscaping and the monument sign is not eligible costs, okay? But those are very minor compared to the roadway work, the curb and gutter, the sidewalk, the push buttons, any storm drainage work that we need to do to make this all come together. All of those costs are eligible. And so I propose that the town cover the matching portion, which is 25% of the construction dollars, and any non-eligible items like the monument sign and the landscaping. Another non-eligible would be any right-of-way that would need to be acquired. Okay, hopefully none. It's just in form of an easement. Okay, but if that cost were to be incurred, that would be on the town, I suppose. And then the proposal would be that the Redevelopment Commission cover the professional services involved in doing this. And so that I have a proposal today for just under $200,000. And that covers the engineering for everything, taking care of the matching grant application, and taking care of the construction inspection services during the project. Okay. That, if you add those up, that equals 1.595. Okay. So this has, yeah. So with that, open up to any questions you might have.
Mark, real quick, if you could kind of give the history of, I think Dr. Allen, you, the other MPO representatives tried to get other funding from the MPO. That was not successful this time. And to be quite candid, I kept yelling at Mark saying, we need to do something at this intersection. Kids walking through, subway, and, we've had accidents, personal injuries, through this corridor. So he was kind enough to maybe after some badgering to do this, and I told him to get up here in front of us. And Dr. Allen, do you want to interject or give your experiences through this?
Yes, sir. Just as you mentioned, Destin, just a lot of kids in that area, before school, after school, crossing, ball fields behind Newbie, so we got a lot of middle school kids traveling to the new middle school baseball field behind Newbie Elementary. So just a lot of foot traffic for kids who are, the frontal lobe is not fully developed yet. So anything we can do to make that safer, the schools would love to work with you.
There are a lot of kids. My mom works at the library, and she talks about the number of kids who walk to the
Absolutely,
library.
library's a big one.
And Main Street would get us there.
That's right.
Yeah, great point.
I just walked from my house to the car X this morning. It's terrible. No, it is terrible. As I look at this, the only thing that makes me cringe is the trees in the middle of the little island. Just thinking of what happened down the road here on Indiana.
That's okay. That's okay. We could take those
Well,
out.
and I like the looks of the trees. I was just more concerned with the safety, because you're putting this island in for, because you're going to have pedestrians crossing there. I just didn't know if the trees would obscure the pedestrians from
Sure.
the drivers.
I just know that putting
Consider the
things in
trees
the middle
gone.
of the putting things in the middle of the road didn't work very well at this point already.
And it's a maintenance issue.
Maintenance.
And the red on here, those are new curbs, right?
Yes. That's right.
All of this,
That-
these are all town streets. None of this is NDOT.
They're
know
all
where-
town streets except for Churchill, which is a private street.
I didn't know we're 267.
So this is considered old 267, been relinquished to the town. Yep. Just a little bit on history for funding. We got with the town, like a small group, I guess, to look into funding through the Metropolitan Planning Organization, which the town is a part of. And we submitted a project, and it is really, really close to what we have proposed right here. But we scored well, but it is a competitive grant, and more scored better than us. And we had a nice debrief. They were very appreciative of us coming and looking into the program, but there's not enough traffic in this intersection to score any higher than we did when we submitted back in October of last year. It is my opinion that it is unlikely for us to get MPO funding at this location with this project.
It's another one of those pieces we'd have to amend our plan.
No, so this is, so to be clear, what you would be approving, this would be for the professional engineering of the design and what all Mark went through. You are not approving the project. You are not undertaking the project. Your approval of the engineering would be subject to the town deciding to move forward with the actual project. And I think the order here, why you're going first as opposed to the town, community crossing grant deadlines are due in July, and so it wouldn't be feasible to wait till your July meeting. So the town will have to make a decision. If the town decides not to move forward, then you will not, then this whole thing will just go away, or like your approval of the engineering. But it is only for the professional services of the engineer. So you are not paying for any of the trees or any of the actual work. That'll all have to be bid by the town, paid for by the town. This is not in the TIF. Their legal costs that they have to do in the domain, that's, or if it's not given to them, that's all on them. You are only paying for engineering services.
Right. Just a note about the Community Crossings program. The call for projects is twice a year. So we've already had the January call, come and gone. And then this call is coming up July 1st, and it's due at the end of July. So just the timing of when the meetings, coming to you first, subject to the town, obviously. But we need to get this started if we're going to go for the Community Crossings program, just because We would need to survey and prepare an estimate as quickly as possible to get it in by the end of July. It's a tall order, but we're up to the task.
I'd make a motion that we approve paying for the professional services if this project goes forward.
Just the engineering.
The engineering.
Well,
Yeah.
what all is included in their proposal.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion passes with flying colors. And nobody's happier than the gentleman at the end of the table.
Thank you.
Great.
Genuinely, thank you.
I think I'm close to just as happy.
Perfect, thank you.
A lot of kiddos out there.
Do you need two? I have two copies.
If you want a copy.
Back to the office without a signed copy.
It's hard to get. I just walked through this parking lot.
That we're working on. How about that?
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. As we go through the
Oh,
project.
Mark, I didn't say, or date that one. Not that I don't trust you, but no, but.
As we go through the project, this will likely be, if, provided the town goes, and everything goes, this will likely be constructed next summer, per the community crossings guidelines. And there's a lot of steps in between. And so I'm open for, if you want to contact me at any time, I'll be managing the project. Love to talk to Mr. Jake about school participation and getting that collaboration going. So, great.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Next, legal update.
No specific legal update this month.
Managerial update, Chelsea, you hanging in?
I'm still here. I have my written report. Just put it in your packet. Work on the June 15th worksheet. I will be getting copies in the next 24 hours to all the underlying packages so that they're aware that there is no pass-through 2023. I'm happy to answer questions anybody may have.
Any questions for Chelsea? Okay. Review of claims. They're somewhere down there.
Down here. I would make a motion that we accept the claims in the amount of $16,978.18.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion passes. For the good of the order, Dr. Allen, do you have anything else?
Nope, just thank you for your consideration in working on the crosswalk project.
Commissioner Heidenreich?
Just congratulations to Chelsea and her family with the birth of the babies.
Thank you.
Commissioner Pipkin? Didn't even say Bikeman, just for fun. Commissioner Culp?
Pass.
Commissioner Taylor?
All good here.
And I have nothing. Our next meeting is July 7th, right here, same time. We'll post if we need an executive session. I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Hey, can you put copies of everything under the public works source?
Yes, I can.
I'm not sure yet.
Big green lights on.
Stretching my neck out here a little bit because I heard about the